Hello and welcome everyone to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks, right before the holiday, what better way to kick off Thanksgiving week? I know it's a short week for a lot of people, than to talk about Xbox. Quite frankly, there is a lot to get into. You are going to have the privilege of watching some of my best driving ever. Not really. I crash a lot of people. If you've ever gone up against my drivatar, it's very aggressive. I've been called out on social media. I've been called out in DMs. Boom, you drive like a lunatic. You know what? Such is life. What can I tell you? But listen, folks, we have a great show. The next 2 hours is going to be fantastic. It's going to be Xbox all day long. And if you are an Xbox fan, then you're going to enjoy the conversation. If you're just a gamer, I think that you're going to come in here and enjoy the conversation. Of course, let's start with the introductions, and then we'll get into the topics, one of which is a small one as we wait for people to file in. Fun one. But first of all, let's welcome in Zemi Games, who, by the way, absolutely loves the cold. And for some reason or another, here in New York, it's 12 degrees warmer than where he is, and he is in the South. Zemi Games, what's going on, brother?
Man, I'm going to tell you what, it is 20 degrees Fahrenheit where I live right now, and that is very, very sad. And I'm very cold, and we're about to talk about flipping refrigerators.
Yes, we are. Yes, we
Cold
are.
machines. I don't know. No, at any moment, like my teeth are going to start chattering. But anyway, super excited to be here as always, Boom. Despite the cold that I'm currently dealing with. And yeah, dude, this week is Turkey Day here in America. So I'm going to be eating really, really good this Thursday.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it. See, what I usually do is I start fasting couple days before so I can really enjoy myself. So like tonight, with grilled chicken salad for dinner. Tomorrow, maybe a bagel for breakfast. You know, we go super light.
Sure.
And then I enjoy the hell out of myself on Thursday. No training this week. I get back to training next week. But let's welcome in Boxenberger. Hey brother, how the heck are you, man? Yeah, you know, you had a bit of a hiccup. I'm glad that you were able to be here today. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I had a little bit of a hiccup. The sill of from the door of my washing machine popped off and flooded my basement. So I spent the entire day pumping out water, getting a dryer in there to clean up, to dry up the room. Yeah, so I was actually thinking about canceling, but there's nothing I can do right now, and I need some distraction. So what better way to do that with you guys and talk some games and talk about something that is actually fun. So yeah, forward to today.
So sorry to hear that, brother, but we're glad that you are here. Hopefully you can get your distraction going with a lot of the topics. We have some really good ones to get into. And of course, making his return appearance, the Mav. What's up, brother? How the heck are you?
Doing good, man. I had to miss last week. That kind of sucked, but
yeah. Well, you know, real life work.
Yeah, I don't like to do it, but everybody has to work, I guess. You know,
has to work.
Well, I'd rather be here talking video games with you guys, and I'm super happy to be doing that because hey, it's getting like that time of year now. It's like we just get to enjoy all of the goodness that has launched over the past 11 months, and now we got one more big thing coming, you know, towards the end of the year. So I'm super happy. This is a good time to be a gamer, and great topics that you have lined up for us today, Boom.
Oh yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, you know, it's funny because a lot of the times we are struggling to get topics, right? Because it's the end of the year, so you know, a lot of the times, you know, we don't know what we're going to get a chance to talk about. Sometimes, you know, you got to invent topics, which I actually like doing. I like writing the original topics of conversation because it is fun. But to open up today's topic, and again, as we wait for everyone to kind of file in, a couple about 6 weeks ago, Microsoft made the announcements they were releasing the Xbox Series X refrigerator, or the mini fridge as it's called. And folks, in a story that I pulled from a site that I'm a big fan of, you hear me talk about them all the time, Video Games Chronicles, it turns out that the Xbox mini fridge has been released early. That's right, folks. They have been out there in the wild. We've seen some people, a guy named Index on Twitter, put out a post in the electronics section where he says, check out your local Target. The Xbox Mini X fridges are there, and they were lined up 3 high, probably as tall as me. The box is pretty cool. I got to be honest with you. It's obviously Xbox green. It says Xbox on the front, and then there's a picture of it. So check your local Target, or of course, if you are in the UK, I believe it's coming through Game. There's actually some people that did an unboxing of it, which is pretty cool. The inside of the actual refrigerator is like a neon green, kind of like an Xbox green. It has 3 shelves. And has 2 very small shelves on the door, like you could put like a candy bar in there or something. I'm gonna be honest with you, I would probably never actually use it for a refrigerator. It would be just as a display piece. But yeah, just to get out there in front of this. It's if you have a Target by you, swing by, and it might just be waiting there for you to walk in the door. Zemi Games, I know you're cold, but are you going to get this?
I have no need for a refrigerator, Boom. I could just set water out, just out in the open, and it'd get cold. No, I think it looks really, really cool. I'm not really looking to buy one right now. Maybe sometime next year.
Okay.
I might jump into it, which I think is really kind of I don't know really the word to use. I'm just going to say cool. The cool part of this whole thing is that this isn't just like a super, super limited thing where, you have to get it right now at this very moment.
Otherwise,
you're never going to be able to get one, right? Yeah. Because as Greenberg has already kind of confirmed the last time that we talked about this, they're going to continue making these and pushing them out into 2022 as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing to remember, that, if you're not able to go to a Target, if you don't have a Target around you, or if Target.com's all sold out, that, there's going to be other opportunities in the future. And maybe one of those opportunities is where I'm going to jump on board. I also, kind of think, I also kind of want to bring this up as well, is that, the last time that we talked about this, the whole conversation was kind of soured a little bit by, the bots. Pre-ordering and getting, just grabbing up all of these refrigerators, similar to what we saw with the consoles, of course. And I have to say, kind of huge kudos to maybe Xbox on this one for not pre-ordering all of them, you know what I mean? And leaving a substantial amount of them to be available actually in stores, I think is going to go a long way to help fans of Xbox actually get their hands on these refrigerators rather than just pre-ordering them all and just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. But overall, it was a cool idea. It was all started by a meme, and it's awesome to be able to see, fans of the Xbox brand get their hand on these refrigerators. And maybe sometime next year, I might drop the money. What are they, like $100?
$100.
Yeah. I might drop the $100 sometime next year, maybe in the summertime, whenever it's really hot outside and I need a refrigerator.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those collectibles that's, it's fun. If you have the room for it, like I actually don't have the room for it, so I wouldn't even know where the hell to put it in this apartment. But I still want to get one. I'm not even sitting here lying. Even if it sits in storage.
That's a struggle I'm dealing with as well. I have my my N7 Mass Effect helmet, and I have no idea where to put it. I've been thinking about taking some stuff from behind me and just throwing it up there. But
I am right there with you, brother. And don't we have something coming from EA? The Omniblade.
I already have it. It's sitting right over there. Yeah, it's right over there in the corner. I haven't even taken it out because once again, I don't know where I'm going to put it.
Yeah,
I have no idea where I'm going to put it.
You know what we're talking about? We're big Mass Effect fans. They released the N7 Special Edition Helmet Collector's Edition. I got it. Zemi got it.
Yeah.
It's still in the box, which is sad.
Yeah.
Which is very sad. I have the Doom helmet in front of me. I got the Titanfall 2 helmet, which is I love. That's my favorite collectible of all time. All time is that. And the Omniblade is on the way. I got the notification that it shipped. I don't know where it shipped from, out of space maybe, because you got yours. I didn't get mine. I'm just
I think a lot of that stuff comes from the West Coast.
Yeah. But everything is kind of jammed up with the shipping. But Boxenberger, I mean, listen, again, not the biggest story of the day. It's a fun one to kind of open up as we wait for people to file in. What are your thoughts on the fridge being available? I know you said that that's good for us, the America, because it's available in Target, but it's not available yet by you, man. Is that a little bit disappointing?
Yeah, well, if you live in Europe, you're kind of set up to accept disappointments from Xbox sometimes. That's just how it is. No, I'm glad that at least in the US, people can get their hands on. We spoke about that after the mess of the pre-order thing. Apparently, they only had 1,000 units allocated to Germany or Europe. And
I don't understand how that's even possible.
That's basically nothing. And even though I read some reports that apparently pre-orders are also up again here, I can confirm they are not. I also spoke to someone from the Netherlands, Spain, and Italy, and I can confirm that in at least those 4 countries, we don't have the pre-orders up. So yeah, I will have to wait till next year when they become available again. But yeah, at least we can see now on Twitter that at least some fans a fridge, and not every fridge was picked up by scalpers. So yeah, that's a good thing, and I'm looking forward to pre-order mine then next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mav, you, my friends, are sitting in what I believe to be a man cave. I love your setup. Your setup is great, and it looks like it's missing the Xbox Series X fridge. Is that a day one purchase for you?
It's not day one because literally when just about a year ago, we completely redid our game room, right? I got a pool table in there.
Nice.
And I bought a like mini fridge for in there, right? And it's like it was a decent one, like it had like it's bigger and it had a clear front and stuff. So like I don't need a mini fridge, right? I want it for the same reasons that you do, just to display it. So I will eventually get one, but I'm just gonna get one at some point when I just walk inside of a Target
and it's
I
there
see
waiting
it there,
for you. Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, I got an extra $100 to burn on something stupid I can put on my shelf, and that's at the time that's when I'll do it. Right? It is freaking cool. I like Zimmy said that there was some that they put on the shelves. It sucks that Europe, what's going on, Xbox? I mean, is that I want to know from Archimedes, is that just like a Xbox thing, or is like when PlayStation, Nintendo does these kind of things, are they usually like at day and date with the US?
They are much better.
Yeah.
Than Xbox is. Actually, I think the main reason why PlayStation is so successful over here is because they have realized early in the PlayStation 2 generation that it is important that you localize your stuff, that you market your stuff.
yep.
That's why Sega died over here. Sega had the exact same problem that Microsoft has. They never gave shit about Europe. There was literally zero advertisement over here for any of the Sega systems. So it's no wonder that they were successful, because people just didn't know that the system actually exists. And the same problem is with Microsoft. PlayStation does it really well as Nintendo. Actually, the problem with Sony is that they got a little bit cocky, probably, I would say, because they are currently reducing their efforts. You can really tell that. For instance, they canceled their customer support over here. Up until last year, they had a customer support that you could just call when you have something, and they were actually really good. They helped me quite well during the PS4 generation when I had problems with my PS4 Pro. Was super successful. Now they don't even have a customer support over here anymore, and you can really tell that they are reducing their efforts. Microsoft improved a little bit over the couple of over the last years, but it's still not even close to what they do over there in the US and the UK. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit in the green room. My very good example lately is with Halo Infinite and the previews. The biggest German YouTuber has 4.3 million subs, and not even he did get a preview code for Halo Infinite.
Which
Can't
Which
believe
is
that.
crazy because they're giving
This
them
is
that,
really
like, everybody
crazy.
here. You know?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I really don't know why they do that, because it seems so unnecessary to do that. But yeah, it is like it is. I'm not surprised that they are outsold here 5-1 against PlayStation. That's really not a surprise.
They should step that up, man. But as far as like the stuff that Zemi was saying with having them in store, just extra ones that weren't pre-orders, I hope that's becomes the case across the board as well. But you know what's cool is bots can't get up and walk into stores and buy things, right?
That's
So, hey, maybe consoles, you should start thinking about just implementing, put them in the freaking stores.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey,
At that point,
be interesting.
they do have the ability to limit one per customer. So you couldn't walk in there and say, give me 10 of them.
They
that's
do.
true.
And plus, you don't have to even announce it. You can just randomly start showing up here and there. And that way you don't draw a big crowd, right? You just like, hey, let's not announce it ahead of time. Let's just, when we get them in stock, we'll put them on the shelves and then people will buy them. Hey, what a concept. Whoever thought that would be a thing? That's the way the world's worked for the last like hundreds of years. Just say, put it on a shelf. It's interesting.
Put it on the shelf. I mean, there's actually a very simple thing to do it also online. You can simply attach it to your gamer tag, to your actual Xbox account. So you have to have an Xbox account that exists longer than 6 months and has more than 0 gamer points, and bam, you're able to buy one online. Shouldn't be a problem.
Yep.
Well, I mean, again, hopefully that is going to be the case. I don't think we're going to have a problem, thanks to Greenberg talking about how they're going to mass produce these things. So again, small story to open up. We're only 16 minutes in. Figured it'd be a fun story. Maybe some people want to get it for a holiday gift for somebody. Check your local Target. Usually, I mean, believe it or not, that's how I actually found the 20th anniversary controller. I literally walked into GameStop. I was like, hey, Joe, what's up, brother? Did you get any of these in? Let me look. Yeah, actually, we did. We got one in. No one reserved it. It's in the back. You want it? Yeah, I'll take it, please. So that's how I got my 20th anniversary controller, because I couldn't reserve it. But that's
a great controller, by the way. I love it.
Listen, folks, I've been so busy because obviously I dropped the latest episode of the X Vlog, which there's my new weekly series that I do. Get in front of the camera, talk about a topic. People seem to dig it, so it's going to continue. So I recorded that early because obviously it's a short week. I haven't even opened up the Xbox Series X Halo Edition. It's in the box. It's literally right there. It's sitting there. Every controller except for I just opened the Halo Elite controller because I wanted to play with Halo. I just haven't had the time. It's just been a nightmare. But anyway, listen, folks, forget that real life shenanigans. You're here to talk about gaming, and we gotta talk about the Game Awards. Now, I'm not gonna talk about how the best reviewed game in the entire 21 campaign is not in the Game Awards, category, and how Xbox gets snubbed again. And oh, by the way, they just broke 11 million players. Nah, I'm not going to talk about that. What I want to talk about is what could be happening at the Game Awards. Now, obviously, we've talked about Clobriel, who has been a fan favorite of Xbox gamers for many, many years. And on social media, I think it was today, as a matter of fact, he posted something that got me excited. And he says this: the Game Awards have been a great stage for Xbox the past few years with selected trailers. The reach of the show is undeniably huge. I do expect something similar to happen this year. Great opportunity to give a peek into the future after this year's strong lineup. And he finishes that off with any dreams and question mark. And almost immediately, Jez Corden of Windows Central replies, and he simply says, some dreams may become a reality. Now, about a week ago, during the Monday night 20th Xbox anniversary primetime gaming, where I had a bunch of people come in from the community outside of the panel, Randall Thor happened to be one of those. And on his way out, he said something that, normally when Rand talks, he doesn't talk out the side of his neck. When he says something, it's because he actually knows it. I know Rand for many, many years. And he said something that I thought was, look, I wound up beating Rand's score, by the way, which is why I love this game, because I love the challenges. People throw you stuff up there and you're like, yeah, I'm going to beat this MF. And I did wind up beating his distance jump. But he said, and the way he said it was kind of like in a matter of fact, that Hellblade 2 was going to be at the Game Awards. So that's one. Now, he also happened to mention that he believed there were going to be 2 or 3 Xbox trailers there, big ones. The question that now that we have, almost confirmation from Clobriel and pretty much teasing from Jez Corden, the question that I want to lay upon the 150 people that are here are, what do you want to see? What one game or 2 games or 3 games do you want to see Microsoft show off for maybe potentially the first time? Because obviously, when exactly are the Game Awards? Are they the 4th or the 5th?
They're the 9th.
Oh, they're the 9th.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So they're a day after Halo Infinite's release, which is great. Because I don't know if they did that on purpose, but no one's going to be talking about anything Sony. No one has been talking about Sony for quite some time because, quite frankly, there really isn't anything to talk about. It's just been, unless you want to talk about the debacle known as Spider-Man. Did you see that? We talked about it last night in Primetime Gaming. That Spider-Man DLC is pure rubbish. My God, what a kick in the teeth. If that's what they were supposed to close the year with, what a joke. I laugh, and I'm not being facetious, folks. That DLC that they went out of their way to hold behind a paywall. We can't, Xbox gamers, PC gamers, Nintendo ain't playing Avengers, but everyone else can't play as Spider-Man, the face of Marvel. And they get it, and it winds up being rubbish. So, you know what? Good riddance to bad rubbish is what I say. But anyway, bringing it back in. Zemi Games.
Yes.
I usually love to have delusions of grandeur when it comes to what I'm going to expect, right? Because my glass is always half full. I don't mind being outrageous. I don't mind being wrong. If I go out there and I make, I want A, B, and C to happen. If it doesn't happen, well, you know what? I'm only disappointing myself. Like I've been calling a new Splinter Cell for the last, 4 or 5 E3s, and I'm still wrong every year, right along with Randall Thor, by the way. But I think that we can say with confidence that we're going to get something in the form of Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga, right? Because obviously the game was debuted in 2019, right alongside the Series X. It would be a great place for us to get an update, right, of what's going on with that game. We know it's been a while. Obviously, the pandemic threw everyone into delays. So I don't know how close that game is, but it would be great. If you had to pick 2 other games that you wanted to see, what would those games be?
The first thing I want to just yell, and this is not an Xbox game, and so I apologize, but the first thing I want to yell is Hogwarts Legacy. I like to just introduce that game every show, if you will.
Listen, I know you're going to play that game to completion through all of the camps. You're going to find a character and be every one of those characters.
Yeah, I'm going to be unemployed by the time that I finish that game. But no, for Xbox games, I would love to see Starfield, see actual gameplay, or so on and so forth. I just want to see more from that game, and it comes out next year. But with that being said, I think E3 would probably be a better place for it. I think it might be better to instead use that VGA spot for maybe an Xbox game that might come, in the first or second quarter, if there are any. I'm not sure. But the main thing that is just on my brain that I would absolutely love to see is Fable.
Oh,
I want
yes.
to
Now we're
see
talking.
Fable. Absolutely. Like that is my hope. Like I don't expect it, right? You know, I always temper my expectations, but I do have hopes and I do have dreams. And one of them is to see Fable gameplay or a teaser or just the logo plopped up on a screen for, 5 seconds. Any of that I would be very, very happy with, right? But yeah, so that would probably be my two games would be Starfield and it would be Fable. And if that doesn't tell you what type of gamer I am, I love RPGs.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, me too. And Fable is a big. That's a big one. What's your second pick?
Starfield.
So you okay? So
Yeah.
you want Starfield? All right. I mean,
Yeah, I'd love to see Starfield.
Those
Yeah.
are strong picks. I would say the likelihood of Starfield would be what I believe what you're saying is held to E3 because what would happen is Todd Howard would come out like he did with Fallout 4, right? Do a whole big presentation, show a bunch of the game, show a collector's edition, say you can pre-order it today. Oh, and by the way, it's launching on X date. And I think that's probably what they're going to wind up doing.
But I will say, and this once again is not going to happen. Starfield is definitely not going to be at this show. But I will say that Todd Howard has blessed the stage of the VGAs before.
Yes, he has.
And whenever announcing Elder Scrolls Skyrim, I believe. So, it's not unheard of. It's not going to happen, but it's not unheard of.
Yeah, absolutely. Boxenberger, let's get your opinion on this, brother. What two games outside of Hellblade do you want to see show up at the Video Game Awards?
Okay, I want to emphasize it's what I want to see. It's not necessarily what I think they will show because those are two separate things. Yeah. For me, what I want to see is Avowed and Fable. I'm similar than Sammy, a huge RPG fan. I can't wait to see those two games in action. I don't think Starfield will be shown because Todd Howard pretty much said that the first time we will see gameplay is in summer 2022, so probably E3 2022.
Yep.
And the Game Awards have traditionally been that event where Microsoft shows some stuff that is a little bit further out. Yeah, they are not showing the games at the Game Awards that will come out within the next couple of months. So I think we should think about some games that are a bit further out. And yeah, my wish would be Avowed and Fable, definitely.
The good picks, Mav. What do you want to see? What are your dream picks for what could potentially be the icing on the cake for Microsoft? I mean, if you just look at the year that they have had, and quietly, mind you, they have released incredible first party titles from every genre possible, all of course into Xbox Game Pass. And now, again, the icing on this 7-layer cake, which I can't wait to have with a cup of Italian coffee, is you got 11 million players in Forza. You got incredible, previews of the Master Chief's latest adventure. Right now, we're all in the middle of playing the beta, which is absolutely incredible. And to close out the year, a couple of their games are going to win some awards for sure, right? But to close out the year, to show off some of your biggest wares would be, again, great way to close out a very successful 2021 campaign. What do you want to see them bring to the table?
Man, the thing is there's so many options to think about. It's crazy when you think about all the games that we know about or projects that are in the works. It's like you start going through, and I think what they're going to do is it's going to be, for the most part, new game announcements, because that's the direction they've gone at the Game Awards so far, and that makes actually the biggest impact. And this is the game. The Game Awards is like the second E3 now, as far as the stage, right? You're not only approaching the Xbox gamers that are looking forward to this, but you also have a lot of consumers that only play on either PC, they only play on Nintendo, they only play on PlayStation, And this is your chance to reveal something to them that is going to get them excited about the Xbox ecosystem. Much like E3. E3 has that stage, but even still, because the shows are separated, people are tuning in specifically to individual shows sometimes, right? This is one show for all of gaming, and the reveals have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger each year, right? Xbox even revealed a freaking console, the console at this show. That shows
Probably one of the biggest announcements in the history of the show.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is going to be the biggest show we've seen from the Game Awards, because I think last year they broke all kinds of records with viewership and stuff, and that just increases the value, increases the marketing potential, it increases everything as far as like Xbox and PlayStation, Nintendo, all these companies look at it and see it. They will see this as like, okay, this is where we're gonna hold off and show some of our heavy hitters, right? So I think it was either you need to come out, and if you're revealing more, if you're having more than one thing, then one of them needs to be a new game announcement, and then the other thing's got to be something that's just going to blow people away, right? So I was thinking about it, and there's so many different options, but I think something that would be really freaking cool to have show up for the first time here would be Indiana Jones.
That's a big one, dude.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
If you show the Indiana Jones at the Game Awards, you're reaching a large audience of people that across all genres and say, hey, it's freaking Indiana Jones. You know what I mean? So that's potential there. Now, it's not necessarily a new game announcement, but we haven't seen anything from it before, right? Only just Todd Howard, or not Todd Howard, even just the painting across the desk, and then Todd Howard talking about it, I guess, as we saw something like that. But other than that, man, it's like, okay, I would love to see that game that Compulsion is making, because it sounds freaking awesome.
Yes.
And as a chance,
I actually think, sorry for interrupting, but
yeah, no problem.
That's one of the two. If I had to name two games that I think that will be there, this is one of them. I think there's a real chance that they actually show it off.
Because this one, I think, is coming sooner than some of the other games that we know about. Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, when did they release We Happy Few? I think it was in 2015 or 16. That means that they have been already working for 5 to 6 years on that game. I think there's a realistic chance that they at least show it off.
It could be a 2022 game for all we know. We don't know this. It could be 2022, 2023. But we know also that Xbox has not been hesitant to show off games at the Game Awards that are years away. Right, they showed off Perfect Dark. Exactly. They showed off Hellblade 2. Right, so that's why I'm thinking Indiana Jones could be a possibility. Right, Avowed could be a possibility. Fable could be a possibility, but those aren't necessarily new game announcements. So I'm like thinking, like, what is that's new game announcements? And Compulsion's game would be new. The other thing that would be new would be IO Interactive's Dragon game. Right, that could be an announcement. Dope. And that could get people excited. Now, I'm going to also say, what if you piggyback off of that? Like, IO Interactive shows up at the Game Awards and they show off Bond. And then they say, but we got another game in the works. And then, like, they show the freaking Dragon game, whatever that is. But I'm going to say the third thing, okay? Kojima's game.
Oh my God, yeah, that'd be big. I mean, again, I think what you're setting up the stage for could not be a better stage for Kojima. Personally, obviously, he's good 100%. Friends with Jeff. We obviously well aware of their relationship, which is awesome, right? Like, who doesn't want to be friends with the guy that you grew up making his game? Are you playing his games? Who wouldn't want to do that? So that is, but I think because of the significance of that friendship, that would be a great pick, dude.
It'd be, I think, semi-likely just because of that, right? It's, hey, Kojima, Jeff could reach out and say, hey, yeah, this is like, we want to market it here. With Kojima could say, yeah, like, can we market it at the Game Awards? And they could work that out. I think it could be a good thing, and plus it has a lot of reach. So we'll see.
Do you think it's going to be an Xbox game? Do you think that Kojima game is going to be an Xbox game?
100%, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on around the cloud and how he's involved with Xbox, and they brought in somebody and all these things. I think there's
they brought in the same project manager that was at Google Stadia that was working with him on that particular project. Microsoft snatched her up almost immediately after they pretty much put the pin in the cushion, so to speak, of Stadia.
And what when the rumors came out about him and working on a PlayStation game, like people are like, oh, okay, it was not. Well, I think they could work on more than one project, right? So
true.
I'm
just
guys are
saying that
saying the
there are so many rumors
most
out there. You know,
dating of
the
others.
Xbox fans always say, yeah, we get an exclusive
Yeah.
Kojima game on the Xbox side. The PlayStation fans are saying, no, we are getting an exclusive games for our platform.
we could get
so that's
both.
why I was asking. Yeah.
I think Kojima Productions has been investing and growing and doing a lot of things. Now we see that they're potentially going to be making movies and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I think they want to go big, and I think Xbox is going to be the home for whatever that cloud project he had.
Yep.
Because Google Stadia is no longer an option. So I guess there's only one other option really at that point, unless you go with Luna, which I don't think he wants to do that now.
Yeah,
so,
well,
you know,
I don't know.
with Xbox.
It depends if the game is a native cloud game. If it just needs cloud technology, we know that Sony also has a deal with Microsoft to use the Azure cloud.
Yeah.
So maybe the project is actually a multi-platform game that just uses the Azure cloud technology. So yeah, we will see. But please continue with the Game Awards.
I was under the impression though that the Kojima signing with Xbox was meant to be an exclusivity deal, not and I heard I heard from multiple sources that it wasn't just one game that he signed with, it was multiple games.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, why would he go back to Sony? Sony basically.
It depends.
Yeah,
I think Sony has something that he's doing with them, and I think he's doing something with Xbox. So I think that, I think that all the rumors are true actually when it comes to Kojima right now, because I think he's just looking at dipping his toes into different stuff. He's kind of like, I'm one of these creators that really wants to try different things, right? So I think that the Google thing that he did have working on, like, I think that whatever that is what Xbox picked up. They worked out a contract, and I think that's what he was alluding to when he was doing that interview with Keeley at it's either at Gamescom or the last Game Awards. I can't remember what it was. He's doing an interview. I think that's what he was alluding to then. But since then, other rumors have come out about doing something with Konami or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but Kojima Productions is involved with Sony with some other project, and it'll be interesting to see what that is. But I want one more thing to happen. I got to throw this out there. Okay.
Sure.
I want Xbox to rub Forza in everybody's face at the Game Awards by revealing the first footage of Forza Motorsport at the Game Awards, right?
Now we're talking.
Gran Turismo is coming out in March in a few few months. If you want to keep those gamers that have a PlayStation out there and you want them to, they all have been hearing about Forza Horizon, but it's not a track racer. They're looking forward to their track racer, right? You really want to make an impact to these racing fans that are really looking forward to GT7, right? You show Forza Motorsport out there and you have a trailer out there that blows everybody's minds, like the Forza Horizon trailer at E3 did, and you're going to be making a lot of conversation, right? So, hey, reveal Forza Motorsport's gameplay at the Game Awards, and not only that, drop a release date at the Game Awards and have it be 2022 in September. Let's go. Dude, if they did that, that would make my day.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to drag the topic too long, but since Mav also put it out what he wants there and what he thinks there will be there, I also want to say two things about what I actually think there will be there, because I'm not sure if Fable and Avowed will actually be there. The thing is, what we need to ask ourselves is, we all talked about the games that they will show there are probably a little bit further out. So we need to think about two things. Will they show a second CGI trailer, for instance, for an Indiana Jones game? I don't think so. And I don't think that gameplay is ready from Indiana Jones. So I think probably all the games that are already announced and have been shown off with a CGI trailer, if they are at the Game Awards, they will have to come with gameplay. So Hellblade 2 is probably in a state where they can show a little bit of gameplay. That's why I think that's realistic. And And I don't think that's going to happen with Indiana Jones. I think the compulsion game because is a good chance because they can show that off with a CGI trailer and actually announce it. They don't even have to show gameplay at the first reveal. And then I also think we forget about State of Decay 3. That game has also been in the making for quite a while, and it has been already announced for 1.5 years now. So maybe we will get a little gameplay teaser for that. That could also be a possibility.
Yeah. Well, look, I love everybody's picks. For me personally, I would love Fable. Honestly, I really would love to see Fable be there in a big way. It's been a while. I know none of us have said Hellblade because I think we all come to consensus that it's going to be there. Hellblade has to be there for a lot of reasons. Again, it's 2 years since we saw it. I understand the pandemic and everything, but they've been working on the game for a minute. So I'd love to see an update, potentially even some gameplay. Halo, obviously they're not going to show anything Halo. We're not going to see Forza, this Forza that you see on the screen because we already know about it. The Forza Motorsport one, though, Mav, that's a good one. That's kind of like
it's really a good one, yeah.
That's kind of, in my opinion, if they did that, that would be kind of a wink. Go F yourself. That you would that our highly rated most game ever is not in your game awards. I would love that. I think, and that would be great. Drop a release date, drop a banging trailer that shows off the new engine, because I believe that game is gonna be the new engine, if I'm not mistaken, which is probably why it's taken so long.
Mm-hmm.
And if it looks anything like this, could you imagine it's going to be better than what you see on the screen? I honestly can't. That's ridiculous.
It's gonna. That's the crazy thing.
That's the crazy thing. It's gonna, yeah. I agree.
Well, listen, folks, we hope that you have been enjoying the show so far. I want to throw it out there that I would appreciate if you would get those likes up over there. We got almost 200 people here. Let's get some likes. If you're enjoying the program, throw a like in there. It's not going to cost you anything. And, of course, if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Folks, we're just a little, and it's a lot. It's not really a little. We're 800 something away from 10K. I know it's not going to happen this year unless something big happens. If Microsoft, let's say, buys Sega and I do an emergency podcast, I usually get a ton of subs that way. But if you are new and you want to, sub the channel, that would be greatly appreciated. But we got to talk about what I led the artwork for the advertisement on. And that is, we're going to be talking about some Scalebound news that happened, and obviously Scalebound is a bit of a punch in the gut for a lot of people, because a lot of folks were looking forward to what could potentially have been a big game, right? I liked what I saw. Sure, it wasn't the best developed game. It certainly wasn't the greatest preview that we've ever seen, and we know that there were some miscommunications, let's just say, but Platinum Games, I still think that they're incredibly talented, but Hideki Kamiya, who obviously is an important part of that studio, recently was interviewed, where in this interview he apologized publicly to both Xbox, its gamers, and Phil Spencer. I have a couple of quotes here I want to read that I thought were pretty interesting. And the first quote he says is, "Scalebound was a project we had teamed up on with Microsoft. They expected good things from us, and we needed to live up to those expectations with the project." Now, he continues with, now, again, there's a lot of quotes, so I really kind of want to just talk about these last three. And I'm going to get everyone's opinion, because I have a feeling that this interview was more than just, hey, we made a mistake. I think it was kind of, in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, folks, maybe his way of handing the olive branch out. Maybe, Scalebound could be revived. It would be a great comeback story if a game that was supposed to be an Xbox exclusive from Platinum Games didn't it didn't work out. It was canceled. Head of the studio comes out, apologizes, and maybe as time passed, cooler heads will now prevail, and maybe they can deliver on their original promise. But here are these 3 comments I want to discuss. He says, "We were working in an environment we weren't used to. We were developing on the Unreal Engine. We also lacked the necessary know-how to build a game based on online features. The hurdles we had to overcome here were very big. We weren't experienced enough, and I couldn't get over that wall, leading to what happened in the end. I'm sorry to the players who looked forward to it, and moreover, I'm sorry to Microsoft, who had placed their trust in us as a business partner. I also want to apologize to both. I want to apologize both as a creator and a member of Platinum Games." Zemi, I know that it's unlikely that Scalebound will ever see the light of day. Microsoft owns the IP. Platinum Games, the original developer, comes out in this interview and obviously starts talking about what happened, that he completely admits that their studio was not capable of delivering, leading up to what happened, which is the cancellation of the game. Now, again, this is me just, thinking outside the box, but Scalebound is an IP based on what we saw. It had multiplayer, it had a big open world, it had you riding around on a dragon. I mean, I for me, as who's someone that likes, that kind of genre, especially open world, I would love to see it come back. Is it likely? No. But is there a potential now that an olive branch might have been put out there for Microsoft to grab? What are your thoughts on his comments and basically admitting publicly that it was definitely on the lap of Platinum Games? Because to be honest with you, if we remember this, Phil Spencer and Xbox took the brunt of this. Oh, a lot of people blamed them for the failure. And it's not until recently that we found out that wasn't, in fact, the truth.
Yeah, I mean, haven't we heard from this individual multiple times before, or someone else that works at the studio multiple times before? Like,
yes.
On Twitter, kind of just poking like, "Hey, let us make,"
in fact, I'll read. You know what? I have that quote. I'll read that for you.
Yeah.
In 2019, specifically, Platinum Games studio head Atsushi Inaba told VGC in an interview that it wasn't easy to watch as publisher Microsoft received the brunt of fanfare following the cancellation news. And it continues. Both sides failed, Inaba said, and ultimately the game didn't do all the things that we needed to do as a developer. Watching fans get angry at Microsoft over the cancellation wasn't easy for us to watch, because the reality is when any game in the development can't get released, it's because both sides failed. So that's the quote you were talking about, Zemi.
Yeah, well, I also believe that there is another quote, and it might not have been from the same guy, but I maybe I'm going crazy, but I swear it wasn't too long ago that we were talking about somebody from that studio, or maybe previously on that studio, typing on Twitter and adding, Xbox, basically asking to bring back Scalebound, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, the way that I look at it is, it's almost like an old fling that just won't go away. Okay. Platinum Games, to me, it just seems clingy AF, right?
I love it. That's great.
If Microsoft wants to make Scalebound and wants to, to see that vision, all the way through, I support it 100%. But don't use Platinum Games. Come on, right? If it didn't work the first time and cost you a lot of money, I'm not saying it won't work this time, but why take the chance, right? There's tons of talented developers out there. that have years of experience using Unreal. Why not just contract them or purchase?
What
a new
about if it was an
studio?
internal studio? That
Yeah.
could take that could take on.
Absolutely. But there's a lot of rumors around why this failed, and I think misusing funds has been around. Like Platinum Games used Microsoft funds for other projects that weren't for Microsoft. I don't know if that's confirmed or if that's still just a rumor or whatever.
No,
But
that's pretty much confirmed, dude. Yeah,
okay.
they were doing that. They were taking
Am I
the money.
Am I the crazy one here that says going for Platinum Games to make Scalebound again would be a really, 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 pardon my language, shitty idea?
Yeah.
I mean, no, like, don't do that. I mean, I'm all for bringing Scalebound back, but just choose a different studio. Unless Microsoft knows something that, which I'm sure know a lot that I don't know. Unless there's some really, really good reason why they would want to get Platinum Games on this again, I don't see the reason why. I think it's too big of a risk. And, they've already failed at it once. If I hired someone to make me a graphic for my YouTube channel, and I get it's two different references, but it's still business at the end of the day. If I hired somebody to make me a graphic for my YouTube channel and he did a terrible job and I paid him, let's say $500, $1,000, whatever it may be, and he gives me a product that I ultimately can't use, and 5 years down the line, he sends me a message and apologizes, and even publicly, and asks me, for my business again. Am I going to say yes? No, I'm going to say no. I'm going to ignore him. I'm going to move on. Right.
Yeah.
I think it's a terrible idea. I don't think that they should go with Platinum Games at all. That doesn't mean that I don't think that they should bring back Scalebound and hire a different studio. I just don't think that it's the smartest idea to use Platinum Games. Let them do their thing. Let them continue being clingy on social media if they want to be, but do not hire them for this unless, once again, they know something that is tremendously valuable that the Platinum team can do for them that I have no knowledge of. But I think it's a really, really bad idea to allow Platinum to have their hands on this again.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong for saying that. Obviously, once bitten, twice shy kind of a situation. Boxenberger, let's get your opinion on this. Listen, again, they literally have so many games in the pipeline right now. I mean, I know that there was we didn't talk about it, shamefully enough, and I didn't even think about it. There was a picture that someone put up that they have 17 unannounced projects. Now, maybe all 17 games or projects that they're working on may never come to fruition. That happens. But the fact that there's a potentially 17 games outside of what we already know that they're working on, is there room for Scalebound? That's the one question. And do you agree with Zemi Games? Don't give this to Platinum Games again.
Yeah. Yes, in a certain sense. The thing is, I don't think they should continue with the AIP at all. Just drop it, move on. They have so many awesome things that we can get excited about in the making. There's so much coming, so much diversity. I don't think we need that game that originated probably in its idea in 2013 or something. It's just an old game that never actually worked properly, so I don't see a reason why they should continue with that IP. It wasn't that exciting, to be honest, to have a hipster dude with headphones fighting dragons. I think they can do a lot of other things, and there's zero reason why they need to continue that particular IP. There's just too much potential. Give the devs the freedom to do what they want. And if it turns out that another developer has an awesome idea with a guy who fights alongside a dragon, he can do that, but it doesn't need to be Scalebound. And as for the relationship between Platinum and Microsoft, I think it's a little late to apologize because they literally let Microsoft take the blame, because
they absolutely did. It's funny, when I read that quote that Zemi was talking about, and they said in the quote, "Oh, it was really bad to see Microsoft taking the brunt of the backlash."
Yeah.
At what point do you, as a company, be like, "Hey, you know what, folks, over here, it wasn't their fault. They were giving us money, we failed." See, because one of the things I didn't like in that quote that I read was that instead of taking the full blame, it was both people or both parties blamed. Well, Microsoft was giving you the money,
Exactly. And
so you
probably
guys
not just a few bucks. That was a
no,
lot of money.
they backed up the truck,
Yep.
and they used it to make a couple of really crappy games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was terrible, by the way.
Exactly. And see, the thing is, over the course of the last couple of years, Microsoft actually didn't have that many failures as people make them out to have.
I agree. Yeah.
It was really, there were literally two things that were happening more or less simultaneously. And that was, of course, the cancellation of Scalebound and that they shut down Lionhead. That happened almost simultaneously.
Yeah.
And because that happened, the narrative was for 5 straight years that Xbox cannot develop games, that they cannot nurture relationships with third-party publishers, and so on. And I think it's a little late to come out publicly and apologize like that. So yeah, I don't think that Microsoft is ever going to have another business relationship with them. To be honest, there are so many developers out there that they can partner with. Why would they go to Platinum again? There's zero reason to do that. And we know that Matt Booty spoke about that just a couple of weeks ago in his big interview, that basically all the third-party relationships that they have right now are obviously kind of a test in how do the teams work together, and that's how they come to their acquisitions. That's why we all think that, for instance, I don't know, Crystal Dynamics is probably a good candidate. If that partnership that they have right now with the Initiative turns out to be a good one, that the teams get along, that there is a certain chemistry and whatnot, I think they are a potential partner for an acquisition, and then that is how Microsoft approaches them. They have tried it with Platinum. Obviously didn't work. There are just too many differences. And so, yeah, I don't think that it will continue to work in a collaboration with them. And I don't think that we will see ever the IP of Scalebound again. And like I said, I don't think they need to. They have too many exciting things already in the making. And I'd rather see what the Project Dragon is from IO or stuff like that. So yeah, there are too many other things that they can do, and give the developers the creative freedom that instead of hanging on to an IP that was never actually an IP because the game never released. So yeah,
I mean, you make a lot of sense, Mav. Why don't you close it out? What are your thoughts on this? I mean, obviously, them going back to Platinum for this particular project, I agree with everyone. I don't think, I don't care if they handed out 10 olive branches. It was a failed partnership. Microsoft really took it over the head. No doubt about that. What are your thoughts on him coming out and saying, yeah, it really was our fault. We weren't capable, and we're sorry that Microsoft, got the brunt of the BS from the people that blamed them for the cancellation. Where do you fall on this?
Yeah, we talked about this on Xbox Ultimate on Friday too, and it was like interesting hearing everybody's thoughts because everybody's like pretty much on the same page, And that was, hey, convenient now that Xbox is doing really well.
Yes, talk about it, brother. Right? Yeah, I thought that also. Wow, it's convenient, right?
Like you got this successful service that's taken off. You're in the news positively, constantly with all of these games and all of these projects with huge investment going on from Microsoft and Xbox into lots of different titles, acquisitions happening, all of these things. And then all of a sudden you hear in this interview, hey, I would like to apologize to Microsoft 5 years, 6 years later, now that you're doing well. So thank you for taking the blame for all these years and allowing me to go and still save face and make partnership deals with other companies while half of the internet and social media attack
destroyed us.
So yeah, so thank you Xbox for that. We appreciate it. I'm sorry now, but you know what? Hey, okay, Scalebound is dead, right? It's not going to happen. It's done. There's no Scalebound going to happen in the future unless Xbox somehow got like the IP and got somebody else to develop it. But I don't think it'd be worth it at that point. Like you just make a different game, right? Which they're doing with IO, right? So it seems like they're getting their Dragon game. I'm curious. The one thing that's funny about the IO thing is that what happened with Scalebound was that they didn't know how to make a multiplayer game and they didn't know how to use Unreal. And that's pretty much what he said when he apologized that hey, they weren't used to working with this engine and they didn't know how to make multiplayer and they couldn't get over the hurdle. It seems weird that they would pitch a game to Xbox and that they have no idea how to make, but that's what they did, you know? It's interesting that IO has no history of making these kind of games either, and it's also a Dragon game, so I'm curious how it's going to turn out. But regardless, Scalebound is not going to happen. Now, the thing is, though, right? Platinum Games since then has gone on to have what I was surprised. I was thinking they didn't do anything really, you know, on the show on Xbox Ultimate, and people in the chat were reminding me of some games. I'm like, okay, yeah, like the Near Automata, right? They did Astral Chain, right? Now they have Bayonetta 3 coming. So they're still a capable studio.
Yeah.
So would I just like shut them out completely? No, because the Japanese audience and also that whole Asian audience and everything, and even like people like me, I like those games. I wish Bayonetta 3 was not exclusive on the Switch.
Yeah.
Right.
Me too.
And there's a history of Bayonetta coming out before on Xbox, right?
It was on the 360 and PS3.
I prefer those if I have the ability to play those games on my preferred platforms. Now, so they're capable of making a style of game really well, right? They make these action games, you know, hack and slash action games extremely well. One of the best in the world, right? At doing that. And I would hate to just like completely shut that out because hey, guess what? They may make something really special again sometime. And now Xbox, I think, would be wise just to keep an open mind to any kind of deals, but if it's for the right type of game, and also, you know, you don't necessarily want to go bring the truck to them, right? You just want to, hey, maybe one of these games can be a multi-plat, right? Instead of being exclusive on a certain platform, you know, because it seems like that's how they're getting their games made is just these deals that are all for exclusivity, right? They make a deal with Nintendo to get Bayonetta made. They make a deal with Nintendo for Astral Chain. They make a deal with PlayStation for Babylon's Fall, which doesn't look very good right now. And they also make a deal with them, I think, for the Grand Blue game that's coming out as well with PlayStation. So, you know, they're making games. Some of them are good. I wouldn't mind playing one of these on the Xbox. So I'm not going to say shut them out completely, but, you know, I wouldn't fund some crazy dream project of theirs anymore. You know what I mean? Just kind of dip your toe in the water a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I agree. I would kind of I would hold them at arm's distance, but I wouldn't box them out either. I mean, listen, again, I thought the potential for Scalebound was exciting because I mean, I know that Zemi said he didn't like the skater punk kid with the headphones. I mean, yeah, I guess that might not work. Again,
that was Archimedes. That wasn't me.
Oh, sorry.
But I'm also not a fan of Scalebound. Like the game just doesn't appeal to me as well.
Yeah, and you know something? Again, they own the IP. So if it's ever going to come back, it's going to probably be done by someone within Microsoft Game Studios. But it again, I kind of agree because you bring it back, even if Platinum's not doing it, it's going to have drama. Do they want that? The answer is no. They probably don't want that. So I do want to kind of just switch gears for a second. Now we're an hour into the show. We already got 3 topics in. It's nice when you have a smaller panel because now we can really dig our heels into getting another topic. I do want to get everyone's opinions on the previews of Halo Infinite's single player campaign. Like we talked about it extensively last night on Primetime Gaming. The episode number 3 of X Vlog is up that I talked about there. And you guys and gals have already heard my opinion on it. But I want to have a little fun here because I want to start talking meta on the back end of the conversation, get the chat involved with that. But I do want to say that what I have seen in videos like the Iron Lords, like Xbox Era, like Randall Thor, and of course Dealer Gaming, his stuff was fantastic because he really showed, like, if you had a problem, if you were worried about the graphics, the way that Dealer set it up, and he did it in 4K, the graphics look ridiculous. The coverage from everyone was amazing, and the fact that again, if you got picked to do the, to get the preview, man, that is awesome. I want to get everyone's expectations because I think they've been blown. For me, the doors have been blown off of my expectations. I mean, we're only a couple of weeks from the release of Halo Infinite, and we've heard quotes from several of the big sites, some of which are saying that this is the best Halo single player in a decade. And when you say that, when you say a decade, you're talking about Bungie realm. Zemi, I want to go to you first. There are. I mean, listen, this game comes in tow with a significant amount of expectations from everybody. It has a lot of drama leading up to where we're going to be in a couple of weeks. From where they were when they showed it off at the a couple of years ago, where where Craig was born, to where it is now, it's leaps and bounds above anything that we could have expected. And it appears that they have hit a home run. And why it's interesting, why it's exciting for me, is because regardless of how Fable turns out and Avowed and all of these other games, the face of Xbox is the Master Chief. And this is the 20th anniversary of not only the Xbox platform, but obviously Combat Evolved. And it would be fitting to have his next adventure, his soft reboot, if you will, be one of these games that we're talking about. We're like, we can't stop playing it because the story is gripping. We've heard dealers say that there is a dark story that they're telling. That you come across a Spartan that's being tortured. He dies in Chief's arms. You come across other Spartans that have been killed. It's going to be a dark story because, well, humanity is hanging on by a thread. For you, seeing all of these previews from some of our peers, from some of the sites, some of the bigger sites out there, where does your excitement level move up or down to?
A lot more than I was a month ago. I will say that. I'm no expert on the Halo preview. I watched a little bit of Dealer's video, not because it wasn't fantastic, because that video was absolutely fantastic. I only watched a little bit because I don't want to be spoiled. I want to see as little as possible because I'm going to play the game, right? I don't want to see every single last thing, but I really thought that the graphics looked incredible, which that never really was the biggest concern for me. The biggest concern was mainly the story, but then also like in-game progression. But as far as the actual story goes, just hearing everyone's thoughts about it and so on and so forth, I'm really excited. I like that they're going into like a darker direction. And one thing that Dealer said during his video is that it's like they're doing a really good job at like humanizing Chief, right? Because for the longest time, Chief was always like almost like the Clint Eastwood, silent and deadly, just going in, killing everything kind of thing, right? But one redeemable factor from Halo, I thought from Halo 4 and Halo 5 was 343's attempt to humanize Chief and make him more of a character than just just a robot running around shooting things, if that makes any sense. And so I'm really, really excited to jump into the story and to see Chief, experience and see all the loss and hopefully the joy with his new AI, right? But yeah, no, I'm a lot more excited now than I was a month ago, which I'm, which has me, smiling because I really do enjoy Halo and I really want to enjoy and play this game. But I still do have the concern over open world. I don't know how I'm gonna like how that plays out in Halo, and I'm not gonna know until I actually play the game myself. But as far as the whole story idea, hearing from all the creators and so on and so forth, that's definitely put those concerns to rest as far as that goes for me. But one thing, and I'm not sure, I think this was in the show notes, like, are we going to be talking about delay and forge and that type of stuff, the show, or is that going to be muted?
I mean, you could bring it up if you want. I mean, we talked about it last night. I mean, look,
Okay.
like here's the thing. I know that there's a camp out there, and if you are disappointed that co-op isn't in there, I'm not going to argue with you, because for me, co-op is not a necessary thing right now, because I don't play Halo in co-op until I've already beaten the game myself. I don't want to be disturbed. I put the headphones on, the lights go off. I want to be enveloped in the story. That's how I play. A lot of people don't play like that. A lot of people want to experience with it. I mean, I've heard it all. I want to play with my son. I want to play with my dad, who introduced me into gaming. I want to play with my best friend or my brother. So there's a scenario there that yes, even Dealer said it in his preview video, that it's kind of a bummer, right? It's disappointing that it's not there. Now, the question that comes into play is, it not being there with Forge, does that truly knock significant points off? I'm gonna say nay, and I'm gonna tell you why. And obviously we're gonna get everyone's opinion at the back end of the conversation of what you think the meta is, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I said this last night, and I'll say it again. I think I'm going to get a lot of people to agree with me. Last year, the game of the world, the game of the century, the game of games was a PlayStation over-the-shoulder third-party game that you happen to love in The Last of Us 2, right? Now, visually, masterpiece. Loved the upgrade system. Loved a lot about the game. Absolutely thought the story, I could have come up with a better story, and I don't write stories for a living. I thought it was abysmal. I thought it was, the way it was pieced together was like, well, we don't know what we're doing, so we're going to kind of give you this cut scene that comes out of nowhere. It was awful, right? Mm-hmm. With that said, that game was supposed to launch with factions, which is an important aspect of that franchise. It has been since the original. Factions is still not available to this day. It's not available for anyone, and the game has been out over a year. So here's my problem. If that game can get high 90s, hundreds from some of these sites, missing an online property that was supposed to launch with the game, got delayed, and still has not been delivered, I believe that Halo Infinite, which is launching with its multiplayer free-to-play, it's launching with its single player, and it's missing two features. If you want to knock off a half a point, I hear you. Anything more than that, I think, is wrong, because at that point, we are not judging the games on the same level. That's my take on it, but by all means, please take it away, Zemi.
Yeah, well, and kind of what I was going to mention with the whole delay, of Forge and co-op is, delays work. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If the team is actively developing the game and has the funds and actually wants to make the product better and is given the correct resources, that being time and money, delays work, right? And I think that this is really a prime example of why more studios should probably delay their games if they need to be delayed. because seeing what Dealer threw up on screen, just graphically speaking, is night and day.
Yes.
From what we saw, at the E3 in 2019, right? Am I thinking, or is it 2020?
It was July. I want to say
It was July 2020.
It was 2020.
Okay, 2020.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. But yeah, I mean, delays work. And the same thing is, I understand a lot of people are very upset about, the co-op not being there, Forge not being those are Halo staples, and they've been in multiple games at launch and so on and so forth. But they're delaying it for a reason, right? And I mean, their previous delays have worked for them. Their game looks a heck of a lot better now than it did before.
Yep.
And in all fairness, you probably don't want to play co-op right now. You probably don't want to use Forge right now. It's gonna, I'm not going to say it's going to have the cyberpunk effect. I don't know if it's that bad at this point, but you don't want to play a broken game, right? It's not going to. I'll tell you this, right? You were talking about Metacritic scores. If they release the game with co-op and Forge right now, it would definitely probably drop a lot more points than if they didn't, because there's a reason they're delaying it, right?
Right.
But no, to answer your overall question, I am actually really, really excited for Halo. I still have some concerns around, player progression through the actual gameplay and story of the game. Open world is really, really new to this franchise. And so that's really what pretty much my last concern. And, I really won't know how I feel about that until I play the game. But I am extremely excited for it, and more so now than I have been in the past months.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. Let's get Boxenberger's thoughts on this. You've seen the previews. I think everyone has. I mean, if you, maybe you haven't, maybe Halo, you're not interested in Halo. That's
of
fine.
course I have.
But my question to you is, where does your hype meter now move? And again, we're gonna, if you want to back end it with your any opinions on co-op and Forge not being there, like I said, I'm okay with it. I don't use Forge, so it's a big nothing burger for me. Co-op is not going to be played because I will eventually want to play it in co-op because I want to beat the game on Legendary. So you're going to need a co-op partner. Now we don't know if that's co-op meaning just you and your buddy, or is that going to be 4 players like Halo 3? I don't know. But you can back end that. But after what we've seen, and the previews have been they're out there, and the write-ups have been almost unanimous in saying that this is going to be a banger for Microsoft. Where's your excitement?
Oh, I have to unmute myself if I want to talk. Yeah, my excitement is through the roof. I'm really happy to hear that because, let's face it, we all have been a little bit concerned about the game and the campaign and the story and everything. I mean, there's zero doubt that the showing in 2020 in July wasn't good, and it was really weird, and Phil Spencer also apologized for it, for showing the game in a state like that, and literally 2 weeks later they did, or 3 weeks later they delayed the game, and he said that wasn't good to show the game, to announce it for release in fall 2020, and then 3 weeks later delay it. And we all had our concerns. I think most of the concerns went off a little when we had the chance to actually play the flight. People, including myself, we were happy to see that the gameplay is on point, that the gunplay feels awesome, the movement is great, that the visuals are actually good, and that was the multiplayer. Yeah. So then it was, and then we get the little bummer with the announcement of the Forge and especially co-op. I don't think people were really upset about Forge. I haven't really seen anyone complain about that. I think we could have all taken that bullet, but I think co-op is what people made, or what made gamers really upset, that it isn't there at launch. And obviously the concerns came back because, yeah, I also asked the question on Twitter. If they had to cancel one core pillar of Halo, and let's face it, co-op is a core pillar. They literally said so themselves, yeah. If they had to cancel that out of the campaign, what's the state of the game? Why were they not able to make a complete game even after a 1 year delay and 6 years in total development time? So yeah, those concerns were real, and I'm really happy to see that apparently they actually nailed it. It is hard to make a Halo game these days because there's just so much competition out there. If you think about what made Halo great when it came out 20 years ago, we didn't have shooters like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and all the others like Apex, like Fortnite. Like there's so much to play out there in the shooter space. Yeah, multiplayer, single player shooters. There's there are first person shooters that are RPGs. There's everything out there, and the competition is really big. And so I'm glad to see that they actually nailed it. Apparently, they also nailed the story. It has an interesting story that is also really difficult if you think about it, because Halo is a long-running franchise. 20 years is a long time, and probably most of the gamers weren't even born or playing Halo 20 years ago. Yeah, so you have to bring those people into the lore. Halo is a complex universe. The story is complex. There are books, movies, TV shows, everything accompanying the entire thing. And you can't expect everyone to know the story, to know what is going on, to know who is Cortana. Yeah, that is really difficult to make that a successful thing. And from what we understand, they nailed it. They actually made an intriguing story, a story that gives depth to the character that is the Master Chief, that is actually not that lighthearted. I think it was either Rand or Dealer who spoke about it actually being a dark story. So I'm excited. I'm glad to hear that it is actually good, that they nailed the story, that they nailed the feeling of the open world, that it's not grindy, that it is really that crazy open world sandbox that we all hoped it would be, that side missions and stuff are actually optional and you don't have to grind to level up your chief. So I'm super excited. I'm glad to hear that. I want to say one last thing about the co-op thing. Yeah, it is a bummer, and I get it. I get why people are upset. I also played, I think, all Halo games in co-op, especially when I play on Legendary. But my first playthrough is always solo. I want to immerse myself in the world. I want to play it on my own pace. I want to actually understand the story. And so for me it is acceptable, but I get why people are upset. But hey, if it means that we are getting a great Halo game, I think we can take the bullet, and we should take the bullet, because in the end they still have to make sacrifices. The pandemic is still ongoing. The last year has been challenging for the most part, and so yeah, if they needed or had the feeling that they needed to make that sacrifice to postpone the co-op in order to make a great single player experience, I'm all up for it, and it sounds like they nailed it. And so yeah, I can't wait for December 8th. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Matt, before I get your opinion on it, brother, I got to catch up with some of the super chats. We got 3 for the day so far. Drawn TJ, good and generous friend of the show. He drops not 1, but 2 $5 super chat and says, great title for the show, Boom. And the second one says, I hope they show State of Decay 3 and Fable. Those would be 2 big ones. And we, of course, that was the topic number 2. Dan the Man Cunningham drops 2 super chats of $5. The first one, it's funny. He says, rehiring Platinum Games is like an ex-girlfriend that slept with everyone in the neighborhood but you. Bad idea. Indeed. And he drops another $5 super chat. Thanks, Dan. He says, my first time playing Halo was with my son. So yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. He goes, wow, the game looks awesome. I can't bring myself to play until co-op comes back. See, and you can't argue. That's a great point. That's also a sad point, because there's there's connection there that's not going to be there at launch. And I feel bad for you, Dan, because obviously there are a lot of people. You're not the first person to actually say that. I've heard that specific story, because you think about this for a second. 20 years ago, a lot of you guys, not so much me, I was 30, right? Because I'm an old bastard. So I wasn't that young, but there were a lot of people in this chat that were kids, right? That played Halo and was like, wow, this is life, right? This is what got me into gaming. And now they may be older, and they might have families of their own, and they thought, wow, this would be an incredible experience to look back on my son or daughter, to play this game with them, and they'll remember this, and they're going to want to potentially carry this on maybe 20 years from now with their children. So it is kind of sucks. That I'm not taking away from that. Selfishly, again, for me, I have to play Halo single player, because I don't want to be distracted by having to talk to somebody. I especially this. I really want to be. And you can't play with Zemi games, because all he's going to do is make jokes and make you laugh, and it's not going to be serious. If you've ever seen this man, his trash talking in multiplayer is legendary. Join a party one day when you see me, him, and you will learn the ways of Zemi games for sure. But look, Mav, I want to get your opinion on this. There's been a ton of previews, and again, I got a shout out to Microsoft. Shout out to Microsoft for dropping this into some of our peers. And again, there it ranges. Look at Dealer is, what was it, 100,000 subs, right? That Rand is close. Iron Lord's 10K, Xbox Era 10K. We've seen a lot of the smaller guys get it, and that's awesome. I big shout out for Microsoft for involving everyone in that conversation. The coverage has been great, and to me, allowing the preview coverage to kind of be put out there, to me, just screams confidence in the product. Like they know what they have. Like it wasn't so great a year ago, but like Zemi said, that's the greatest thing about delays. And if you think about it, it's actually been it's been more than a year, because when they showed off, I think it was July 20 something, I think maybe the 23rd or the 27th, where they showed Halo. And then they were like, yep, hold on a sec, we got to delay this. This is terrible. So it went back into active production for more than a year. So it's probably 14, 15, maybe even be 16 months. So the delay obviously has worked, because you've seen the coverage from everyone. It looks amazing. Where does your hype meter now move, Mav?
My hype meter was impossible to move since the day that they announced the game. I mean, ever since I knew that they're working on another Halo game, that's all it takes for me. Say Halo, new game, mainline. I'm like, okay, that's my most anticipated game for that year. And until it comes out, for year after year, Halo's that special for me, like with the story and everything. So as far as like the videos, I only wanted to watch one, because I'm starting to like put too many pieces together, right? With every little glimpse I see of like story and stuff, and I can't help but obsess over it. Like that 6-minute trailer, I dug really deep into that, right? And now I'm seeing like these impression videos and stuff. What I noticed was, because I watched Dealers, was the graphics were mind blowing, and there's no concern anymore for anybody. Like I wasn't concerned ever, because 343's never had a history of putting out a graphically poor Halo game, right? So I was never really concerned about it, but there were a lot of people that were, and based on seeing his video, with which he was very he made sure that it was good quality, like everything he did, right, to post it, because
it was top notch, no doubt about it.
Just absolutely beautiful graphics, and that's kind of what I was paying attention to. Like a couple of points that he said in there was that it has a really like impactful story moments, right?
Yes, yeah, that's when he talked about how dark it is when you are coming across some dead Spartans. What the one scene that stuck out for me, and I want you ever see you want to watch something but you don't want to watch it, Mav? It's when he grabs the guy that's kind of held up. That's Spartan. He's big. He's as tall as he is. That's going to be a devastating moment.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that because there's going to be a lot of loss in this game, right? And we've had that before with like Reach,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
ODST.
moments like that, and
ODST. How dare you forget that one? Oh man, you want to talk about loss?
Yeah, there's a lot. Halo's dealt a lot with loss before, and it looks like we're gonna have a lot to bear again with this one, right? But it seems like from what the glimpses I've seen, it's very close and personal, the way that they've dealt with it in this game. So I'm really excited to dive in. Like I just can't wait to play the story. Now going with the co-op stuff, I personally I have never cared because for me, like Halo's always been more of a personal story. And then when I played the co-op, it was like, hey, it's time to have some fun with some friends and just go around and like do missions and stuff. But it wasn't really for the story. You know what I mean? And like I really enjoy the Halo story, and I like to play through that. Now I was thrown for a bomb the other day on Xbox Ultimate when my wife on air asked me not to play it until the co-op drops, and I'm like, hey, this is Halo. You kidding me? Like any other game, I'll say yeah, but Halo, no. Like, I gotta play the freaking campaign. When it comes out. So, but yeah, I'm super excited for it. Hype meter off the charts. I was never concerned. Earlier, Archimedes said, yeah, a lot of people had concern. I was never concerned about it ever, to be honest with you. I enjoyed every single Halo game that's ever been made, except for the mobile ones. Those don't count. But as far as like any mainline Halo game, I'm all in, dude. And the multiplayer, so freaking good. It's so freaking good. It looks great. So I'm ready to get this single player game out there on the 8th and just dive in and experience that story. I can't wait.
I agree. But you know what? We are 90 minutes into the show, and I do have one last topic, and I have to involve the chat in this one. We have, let's see how many people we got in here. We got about 200 people here, which is great. A guy on Twitter goes by the name of Snap Blast Play. He put out the Halo Metacritic scores from top to bottom. It's a pretty interesting list. Halo Combat Evolved, highest of the bunch, 97. Halo 2, 95. Halo 3, 94. That's my favorite Halo of all time. Halo ODST, I can't believe it. 83. What game were these people playing? That game is amazing. Halo Reach, 91. Halo 4, 97. Halo 5, I said 97. I'm sorry. Halo 4, 87. Halo 5, 84. Halo Wars, 82. Halo Wars 2, 79. Halo Master Chief Collection, 85. So now we come to...
Boom, I think with ODST, that was a full price game as well, right?
Yes,
Which
it was.
Back and it's like, okay, what? Because it didn't have its own multiplayer, right? It had Firefight,
right?
But it didn't have its own multiplayer. So
I did not have it. Yeah.
You want to talk about games like, hey, not launching with content complete stuff, right? If you could charge $60, they didn't have full multiplayer in that, and like that's the reason I'm bringing that up. Like co-op campaign is way smaller thing than an entire suite of multiplayer, right?
I agree. Yeah, like I said, I still think it's important. I do think that obviously if they're gonna do co-op, they got to do it right, and a delay is going to be for the better. Mm-hmm. May, from what we understand, is a little bit further out than they originally thought. So you're going to get we're hearing that again that you're going to get Forge and co-op in May of 2022. That's just before the summer. I'll say this: I don't think I could wait. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm going to wait to play. I don't know about that. For me, I'd have to play. But I do want to involve the chat. I want to involve obviously the panel here. Last night on Primetime Gaming, which was a great episode. If you missed it, we had a lot of laughs on that, a lot of fun on that episode. I said that the Metacritic for both the single player and multiplayer was going to be a 91. I'm interested to get the chat's opinion on this, but I also want to get the panel's opinion on this. And there are actually two questions here besides, hey, just throw out a score. Because Master Chief this time around is having his own adventure and multiplayer is free to play. Should this be reviewed separately or together? Zemi, I want to go to you first. Give me your Metacritic score, and what do you think on the or actually answer the other one? Answer the second question first. Do you think that this game should be reviewed as a single property or separately because one is paid and one is free to play? And what is your Metacritic score overall?
Yeah, I think it should be reviewed all together. I mean, I get that it has a section of the game that's free to play, but like, you know, if you load into Halo right now, even the free to play multiplayer, right?
It says
beta,
campaign. Yeah.
It says campaign right there on the main menu. So it looks like you're going to be able to access the campaign from the same program, right? Like the same technically game, right? So I think it should be reviewed together. As for my Metacritic, man, I don't really care like what the Metacritic is. You know, I never use them. And you know, ultimately, like it just doesn't matter, right? Like what the Metacritic is. I mean, there's a lot of terrible critics. Not going to name any of them, but there's a lot of terrible critics that are, you know, that go on to Metacritic and post what they like to post as well. So for me personally, I don't really care about Metacritic. I think for a lot of people, they only care about Metacritic whenever people are reviewing the games that they like the way that they want them to, right? But for me, I you know, it doesn't really matter to me. You know, I have the influencers and the reviewers that I like going and watching their content, and you know, I definitely take, you know, single influencers' opinions about games you know, more seriously than the Metacritic. With that being said, if you're gonna, you know, hold my arm to it, I think anything below a 90 is a travesty. If the campaign is as good as the multiplayer, anything underneath a 90 would be a travesty. And from, you know, that's honestly what I would say.
Okay.
And the reason I say a 90 is because I know how Metacritic is, right? You know, it like I said, you know, it you know, it's a culmination of multiple media outlets, and you know, some media outlets have less integrity, and you know, at the same time, everyone plays games differently. Everyone has different opinions about games and values certain things in gaming above other things. And so with that being said, you know, I think a reasonable expectation is that it should have a 90 or above, and anything underneath that, you know, is you know, definitely would raise some eyebrows for me.
Yeah, I listen, I can't argue with that. Like I said, I said 91. A lot of people on the panel were like high 80s, 88, 89, 87. And like I said, they're going to, depending on who reviews it, right? And again, I think you use the word integrity brilliantly, because there are a lot of sites that have no integrity, that are simply looking for clickbait. They're the site that gave Halo a 5 out of 10, right? You're going to get that. There's going to be some asshole that goes and gives this game a 5 out of 10 not because they've played the game and they actually think it's terrible, because they want to be the site that gets clicked on the most and whatever. Some people do that. Some people do bad things to get good, try and get good publicity. Wow. Which is one of the reasons why I think that, yeah, Metacritic is, I give them crap all the time, because I think that their metric is broken. The way that the film critics industry does it is, you got to show the receipts, like the kids say, right? Bring the receipts. They actually have to take a picture of your movie ticket receipt that's ripped in order for you to leave a review. You have to have, you know, you got to constantly do that if you want to be one of these reviewers that reviewed a movie. I don't necessarily know what Metacritic would have to do to make change, because again, I'm not saying this is, hey, I'm Xbox guy and you got to give Halo the best score. If the game is broken, if it's not working, if it's terrible graphics and it's a terrible story, then by all means give it a poor review. But if the game is hitting on all cylinders, and it appears that it is, again, folks, just look at the previews, and I'm not just talking about our peers, the previews from many of the big sites out there that are saying, again, it's almost universal, almost, I would even dare say, a hive mind. You would say, well, everyone's saying that the game is good. What was everyone drinking the Kool-Aid? No, the actual single player campaign is that damn good from what people have played. Now, Grant, could the ending fall out, bottom out? Sure. Is it likely? No. So it's interesting, but I do like your theory on that. Boxenberger, where do you personally fall in? I know the Metacritic is not that big of a deal, but I think it's still, what would you think the score is going to be at the end of the day, seeing what we've seen and playing actually what we've played? Because you've played some of the multiplayer. The multiplayer is freaking brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we will all get a chance to play on December 8th. And again, for me, nothing else is going to matter once Halo comes out. Nothing else is going to matter. Where do you fall on Metacritic score?
Yeah, I'm glad that the industry is moving away from the importance of Metacritic scores. A couple of years ago, actually we heard stories about salaries of developers being
bonuses.
attached to bonus payments are being attached to Metacritic scores. So I'm glad that we haven't heard about that in the recent years, and that we are moving a little bit away from that narrative that Metacritic actually matters. In the end, actually two things matter. Do gamer like it? Is the game positively received out on social media and everything? And the second thing is obviously the sales. Those are the two things that matter. The one brings the money, the other one brings the fame. We have seen games out there with low Metacritic scores that are fan favorites and people love the game. I think Sea of Thieves is a great example. I don't know where it sits right now at the Metacritic, but I think it was somewhere in the 70s at launch. And 25 million gamers are playing that and enjoying that. So what's more important?
They've been supporting it. Yeah, you're right. And does it matter because they have 25? That logic can be used for a lot of people. Were like, well, boom. Don't get in your feelings over Forza Horizon 5 not getting into the game of the year. It doesn't matter. There's 11 million players. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can take that logic, but I still think it's a snub. But yeah, I agree.
I agree. It is to a certain degree. We always have to think about what would you feel as a developer?
Yes.
Yeah. Boom, you're on the team at 343. You spent 6 years making that game, pouring everything you have in there. So how would you feel if your game gets
I would
a
feel
better
dejected,
of 70?
to be honest with you. Yeah.
And I think that is the thing where the Metacritic actually comes in. And the same goes, of course, for the Game Awards. Same logic is applied to the Game Awards. I've said it on this very show, I think last week. The Game Awards can be healthy, especially for developers, for the industry, and that's. Pardon me. Let me rephrase that. I think that that a proper award ceremony can be healthy for the gaming industry because it actually gives developers the chance to get recognition. Yeah, and the Metacritic thing. We've seen it out there. Yeah, gamers are review bombing it. Media outlets like you guys already said are putting out clickbait titles just to get attention, review bombing it, and now these factors of all in the Metacritic score. So yeah, that's probably why Halo Combat Evolved still sits at a 97, because we didn't have that 20 years ago. Yeah. So what do I think it actually should be based on the multiplayer? I think it should be at least a 95.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree there.
I think the multiplayer is absolutely awesome. It's probably the best multiplayer we had since 3.
Yep.
I would definitely say so, and let's see how it will stick with us. It's sometimes hard if you actually are currently playing the game and super enjoying it. But it definitely has the potential to become the best multiplayer ever. It is so well done. It feels fantastic, plays fantastic. There's so much fun, and it brings the community together like I haven't seen in the last decade or so. My complete friend list is playing Halo. Whenever I jump on, I have a full party to just jump in and play Halo with. It's awesome. It's fantastic to see how the game brings the community together. For that reason alone, it is at least a 95 for me. We will see how good actually the single player is. I can't judge on that. So I won't give or can't give an opinion what it should be with the single player, but judging from the previews, we talked about it earlier, it's going to be awesome. But due to the fact that we have too many media sites out there that go for clickbait titles and clickbait review scores, I think it will be probably at around a 90. I could see the potential that it will end up there, 88 to 90, something in that range. We will see. In the end, I personally don't give a shit about. I'm sorry, pardon my French, but I really don't care for Metacritic because the system is so flawed, and I
100%.
rather go on social and see how actual gamers enjoy it. So yeah, we will see. We will see.
Yep, absolutely. And Mav, close out the show with your opinion, brother. Where do you feel the Metacritic score is going to go on for Halo Infinite? Do you also believe that it should be reviewed together or separately?
I don't think it necessarily matters either way if they review it together or separately, but I see it's been a trend for large titles, from large media publications as well, to review multiplayer and single player separately, just for the basis that they get double the clicks, right? Um, so I highly expect that's going to happen. Um, and in this case, maybe it is warranted because guess what? Like, you don't even need the campaign to play the multiplayer,
Right.
right? So it would make sense to review the multiplayer separately, and the campaign separately, because there's different entries, right? There's different levels of entry there, right? So it's not going to surprise me. Now, what I would like to see is like an overall score, like combined, like on Metacritic. I don't. That the question is Metacritic going to separate it, right? Is
That's interesting.
Metacritic going to have a Halo Infinite multiplayer and then a Halo Infinite campaign, or are they going to take all of them and average it out into one big score? So that's what I'm really curious what they're going to do, because some sites may just combine it, some sites are going to do it separate. I think that Windows Central is doing it separately.
Yeah.
I believe Miles Dompier said that, and he's reviewing the multiplayer, if I remember right. I think I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, I think
Um,
IGN is reviewing them separately as well. There's a few sites that
right.
came out there and said they're going to do it separately.
As far as like that goes, like I don't know how Metacritic's going to handle that. Now, do I care about Metacritic scores? No, but do they matter? Yes, they do matter. That's not to me, right? They matter to general public opinion. They matter to um, publishers, the developers, to for lots of different reasons. So the thing is about meta scores, though, as well, it's harder and harder to get 90s, right? Because back in the day when like what was it, Halo 2 and Halo CE, all those games were getting like what 98s and 97s on meta, right? That doesn't happen now, you know, because the way the review systems works, you got so many people just competing for clicks and stuff, and you got so many more reviews that are counted and everything, and it's less about actual editorial magazines and stuff as it is just websites that people run and blogs and stuff like that, that people eventually get their site counted on meta. So you've even had some sites counted on meta that are known for not even playing their games, right? So meta's lost all credibility as far as what the scores actually mean, and it's harder and harder to get those 95s, 96s and stuff, right? So where I think this is going to fall is probably somewhere between an 85 and a 90. I don't think it's you have to have an overwhelming positive campaign experience from everybody to get above 90, right? And just with the nature of Halo, you're going to have some people are going to like it, some people are not, right? And I think it's going to kind of determine where the score goes. And it's a high 80s is what I'll say.
All right.
But I think, hey, it's going to be amazing. Just to note, also the event is a free event that is just launched for everybody. You get a free battle pass that's tied to just the event, and you get unlockables that are tied to just the event, and it lasts for the next week. So check that out.
Yeah.
And hey, if you before we're done here, the museum.xbox.com thing that just launched is freaking awesome. I
That's
encourage
on
everybody- hey,
that's on YouTube.
No, it's a website. Aaron Greenberg
okay.
tweeted it out. You can go there, you sign in, you can walk around, and you see like your history of games played ever since you signed into Xbox. It tells
Oh,
you how
that's
many
dope,
games.
dude.
I've played 1,798 titles on Xbox, according
Wow.
to this. Now that doesn't include 2 years of gaming because I used to use the 3-month codes back in the day that you
Okay.
remember used to come with the games, right? You put in your code and then but you had to make a free account in order to use the code. So I had 6 gamer tags before Mav 7. That's why it's Mav 7.
I remember those old days. I was a poor child as well, Mav.
Yeah, man. The games you got it. It came with a 3-month code. There was no achievements
Yep.
back then, right? So the only thing it had to do is just send my friends a friend request and say, "Hey, this is Mav," right? And
Yeah.
this is a Mav 7. That's why it's Mav 7 is my gamer tag because it's the 7th iteration of Mav. And I just hate now that with this museum thing is there. We're missing. I'm missing like 2 to 3 years or whatever of my history. It kind of sucks, but yeah, check that museum.xbox.com thing out. It's pretty cool, everybody.
Nice. I see that. It's like you have like a something with an X on your back, and you're walking around. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's the Microsoft launcher, the virtual launcher. Yeah. Okay. So listen, folks. Great. Hopefully you enjoyed today's podcast and you had fun listening to us ramble for almost 2 hours. I want to we had a super chat come in just a second ago. Bay Area drops a $5 super chat and says, "Good show as always, Boom. This multiplayer is the best in the series, hands down. And when the story hits, the score will be a 93." Yeah, like I said, I'm going for 90, 91. I'd love to see it get higher, to be honest with you, for a lot of reasons. Not because it's a console war nonsense. I really want to see 343 get a big W for this for a lot of reasons. They again they kind of put themselves in a corner with some of the things they did previously, so it's not like it's unearned. The criticisms that we've had with some of their stuff. I talk about my criticism of Halo 5. I'm not the only one. A lot of people didn't like the story. I'm not just being a jerk about it. The story wasn't good. It was terrible. This is going to be fixed, and I honestly can't wait to play on December 8th with everyone else. And of course, I want to thank everyone. First of all, I want to thank all the super chats that came in. Those obviously help power the giveaways. The next big one, folks, is going to be in December for Christmas. Mrs. Boomstick and I are going to be doing a $500+ giveaway that's going to include physical prizes and digital prizes. And obviously, if you're a channel member, you get put into you get an extra entry. If you drop a super chat in from December 1st until the show, you get an extra entry. And of course, all you got to do is show up, and you're in. So it's going to be a great show. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a Breakfast with Boom. I'm not sure which one it is, but we'll be doing the advertising coming up soon. Both Mrs. Boomstick and I want to wish everyone a very happy and plentiful Thanksgiving. Hopefully your table and cupboards are filled. This has been a tough couple of years for a lot of people. And we want to make sure that everyone is eating well and enjoying yourself with your friends and your family. Of course, enjoy safely. And let's get to the outros. And Zemi, we'll start with you, brother. Please tell everyone about the constantgamer.com and where can people reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media? And also, where could they subscribe to your incredible YouTube channel?
Yep. So Constant Gamer is the YouTube channel. I do a bunch of gaming news, some theory videos, just a bunch of gaming content. So if that's your thing, definitely stop by. Once again, it's called Constant Gamer. Stop by, watch some videos. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. And then you guys can also follow me on Twitter at Zimmy Games. Boom, I told a big fib a few days ago. I did. I said I was going to post a picture of chocolate pie, and I completely forgot. I ate chocolate pie. but I forgot to post a picture. So now I need to make another chocolate pie. Not because I want to eat chocolate pie, but because I have to take a picture and post it on Twitter now.
I want to eat chocolate pie
because I feel really bad.
Yeah.
But no, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter at Zimmy Games. Boom, as always, fantastic show. Looking forward to next Tuesday, as always, man. And I'm really looking forward to this Thursday so I can get some turkey in my stomach.
Yeah, sounds good. Listen, folks, real quick programming update. There is not going to be a new Breakfast with Boom this Friday morning. I am going to take an advantage of the holiday to spend some time with Mrs. Boom. We're going to have our nephew is coming to stay again, which we love when Tyler comes over. We're going to have some family over the house as well. So, we're going to take the week, a nice long weekend off from no podcasting. You'll probably see me on social media kind of just, wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving and holiday season. But, yeah, there'll be no Breakfast with Boom this Friday. We will return the following Friday. This is the last show of the week for me. That's why I went on my way to drop the X Vlog episode 3 early, so I can kind of enjoy the rest of the week. Plus, I got a lot of stuff to do here with family coming in. But let me, Boxing Burger, thank you so much for being here, as always, brother. And again, you were here, with you having so much trouble earlier in the day with the flood in the basement. That's definitely not good. But we're glad that you were here and you had fun. By all means, please sell your brand. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media. But more importantly, check out your incredible and growing YouTube channel.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the invite. It's always a highlight of my week, and I needed that distraction from the flooded basement. So thanks for having me here on today. People can find me basically everywhere under Boxenberger. As you said, I do have a small YouTube channel where I cover certain topics of the gaming industry. Try to put out good production quality in my videos, and I give certain insights into technical things out of the gaming industry, into some news and whatever is going on in the gaming industry. So definitely check that out. And otherwise, you can also find me on the Midweek Mix-Up podcast, which is airing usually on Wednesdays. That's
not this week though, right?
Not this week. The Midweek Mix-Up crew decided to play Halo instead. So we are skipping this week's podcast and just stream our evening with Halo. So, yeah. And other than that, Boom, I wish everyone in the US a happy Thanksgiving. Have a great holiday, and I see you guys next week.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much for that. And Mav, talk about it, brothers. Tell everyone where they could find you on social media, where they could subscribe to your YouTube channel, and how many shows are you doing now? Because my God, you put me to shame. Talk about your wares, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks again, Boom. This was a lot of fun. Archimedes, Zimmy, you guys are awesome. Thanks for having this awesome conversation like we do every week. I hated missing last week. I hate that Pong is not here today. I hate that 3-Bit's not here today. We miss you guys. Pong, hope you're having a good day at work, man. So you can find me on Twitter, Fun Speculation, YouTube, Fun Speculation as well. We have multiple shows. It's a lighter week this week with the holidays, right? We got Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday, so there will be no Fun Pop tomorrow night. There will be no PM in the PM on Thursday night. But there will be Xbox Ultimate on Friday night, and nice. I believe FSP will still happen on Saturday. So look forward to those. And yeah, again, that's on YouTube, Fun Speculation. Also, I got to test this out, but I just checked it out with Spotify because all of our shows are on Spotify. I think I'm going to be able to upload Xbox Ultimate on video on Spotify.
Yeah, there's an option. Yeah,
It's a new thing.
yeah, it is a new thing that they just added to people that I got the email a couple of weeks ago. They give you the ability to, besides just being a regular RSS feed podcast, they do offer now video as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna test that out after our show on Friday and see how that works. Right, so it'll be interesting. I don't know if you were considering doing that as well, Boom. I'm just curious what kind of reach it's gonna have for video and Spotify. But yeah, we'll
it's
see.
interesting. Spotify's big. I mean, like I said, the channel is available. Any of the podcasts that I do, I upload Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. There's about 7 of them that if it burns out your battery, you can always go listen there. But yeah, definitely check it out. Let me know. I haven't done it yet.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I have absolutely destroyed your chat. Like everyone is talking about pudding and pie and cheesecake and just
Mrs. Boom is
I have
making a
destroyed
cherry
your chat.
cheesecake for dessert.
Ooh, I can't wait to see the spread, Boom.
Dude, they're so good. I mean, and they're big. They're like this big. So I'm eating for days. So I'm very happy about that. And her sister is making, I believe, a pumpkin pie, which she's a good cook as well. We're gonna be eating well. Let's just say that. But listen, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us, listen to us blabber about chocolate pie and everything else that we talk about. But listen, I would be remiss if I didn't close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me with kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. And hopefully you will be enjoying multiplayer, Halo multiplayer, like all of us. If you see me online, just jump in the party. I'm probably going to be online with Zemi Games, listening to him talk trash and just decimate people. But take care, everyone. Have a great Thanksgiving. And of course, don't forget to be nice, right? Being nice is super important. And I can guarantee you can have a good day if you do it. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your holiday.